The night was colder than usual, a kind of cold that didn't just settle on skin but crawled deep into bones, reminding you of every loss, every fear, every unanswered prayer. On that silent December evening, in a small, dimly lit apartment on the edge of the city, a struggling single dad lay awake staring at the cracked ceiling, wondering how he would give his little girl a Christmas that didn't feel like the world had already given up on them. His 8-year-old daughter, Amelia, slept curled against his arm, unaware of the emotional storm raging inside her father's chest. Their heater had stopped working 3 nights ago, the rent was already late, and the refrigerator held nothing but half a loaf of bread and an apple he was secretly saving for her. Yet she slept peacefully, hopeful, because despite everything, she still believed in magic. Meanwhile, across town, on the top floor of a silver skyscraper decorated with shimmering white lights that looked like stars chained to steel, widowed CEO Christopher Hale sat alone in his office, staring at a framed photo of his wife. This was his 3rd Christmas without her, and every year since her passing felt like survival instead of living. He owned a billion-dollar corporation, people feared his silence, admired his brilliance, and assumed he had everything, but what he truly had was a mansion full of darkness, rooms that echoed with ghosts of laughter, and a heart trapped in grief so deep it felt like drowning with his eyes open. The world saw 2 people living very different lives, but destiny had already begun stitching their stories together with invisible thread, and it all started with one handwritten letter and a mailbox outside a corporate office no one believed children noticed. Before continuing, if you believe in kindness, second chances, miracles, and humanity, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. One click might inspire someone who desperately needs hope today. Amelia was a bright, soft-spoken little girl with warm hazel eyes and a smile that could melt even the coldest soul. She believed in Santa not because she was naive, but because she refused to let go of the idea that somewhere out there, someone still cared. She watched her father wear strength on his face like armor, while sadness lived quietly behind his eyes. He tried to shield her from reality, but she heard him. She heard the late-night sighs, the muffled cries, the whispered apologies to her sleeping form. She saw how he skipped meals, saying he wasn't hungry. She saw the stress grinding him down. She didn't want toys, pretty dresses, or candy like other children wished for at Christmas. She only wanted her father to be happy again. She wanted her hero to remember how to breathe without pain. At school, she listened as children bragged proudly about Christmas decorations, holiday dinners, matching pajamas, and expensive surprises hidden under sparkling trees. She didn't envy them, but she wished, deep in her heart, that she had at least one memory she could share without pretending. That afternoon, as she walked home, she stopped in front of a tall, gleaming corporate building she had seen multiple times before but never paid true attention to. That day, the decorations captured her gaze, filling her chest with a warm idea. The sign near the entrance read, Hale & Company. Global Holdings, CEO Office, top floor. Just beside the glass door stood a shiny red mailbox with tiny snowflake stickers and a sign above it, letters to Santa, hope lives here. The message struck something inside her. She didn't know it was for employees' children only. To her, hope didn't need rules. Hope was for everyone. That night, in their cold apartment, she borrowed a page from an old notebook and began writing with slow, trembling strokes. She didn't write about wanting toys or treats. She wrote about what mattered more than anything to her. Dear Santa, I think my daddy forgot how to smile. He tries very hard, but I hear him cry when he thinks I'm sleeping. We don't need gifts, we just need help to be happy again. My daddy is my hero, but he is very tired. If you can you give him a friend, someone to talk to? He misses someone but he never tells me who. And if you can, please tell him he's not a bad daddy. After folding the letter carefully, she woke up early the next morning and slipped out to place it gently inside the red mailbox, praying that someone somewhere would hear her heart. That afternoon, the receptionist of the company began collecting letters. She expected long lists of toy requests and expensive childish dreams, but when she accidentally opened Amelia's, time seemed to stop. Her eyes watered as she read, unable to ignore the weight each sentence carried. Uncertain what to do, but unable to throw it away, she walked it upstairs and quietly placed it on the CEO's desk. At first, Christopher barely noticed it. He had meetings, final quarter calculations, holiday bonuses, and international calls lined up, but when his eyes caught the phrase, "My daddy forgot how to smile," he froze. Something inside him cracked. He read the letter slowly, and by the third line, his heartbeat wasn't steady anymore. Those words echoed his own unspoken loneliness. That night, he couldn't sleep. The letter wasn't begging, it wasn't greedy, it was a cry written with innocence but loaded with the pain of two broken souls. For the first time in years, he felt a pull stronger than his grief. Without fully understanding why, he decided he needed to find this little girl and her father. Snow fell heavily 2 days later as Peter, carrying Amelia's school bag, walked her home. His head throbbed with the weight of reality. Earlier that morning, he had found an eviction notice taped to their door. They had 7 days left. He didn't know whether to cry, scream, or simply give up. His pride, once his strongest armor, now felt like a cage he couldn't escape. That evening, he tucked Amelia into bed and told her everything would be okay, even though he didn't believe it himself. After she fell asleep, she whispered into her pillow, asking God and Santa to hurry before her father broke completely. That same night, a luxury black SUV slowly pulled into their neighborhood, its headlights slicing through snowfall. Christopher stepped out and looked around, clutching the letter in his gloved hand like a mission he had no intention of abandoning. He knocked on neighbors' doors, showing them the letter, asking politely if they recognized it, until finally, someone pointed him toward an apartment on the 3rd floor. When he reached their door, he hesitated. He didn't want to intrude, he didn't want to offend, and he didn't want them to feel like charity. He wanted to honor the honesty in that letter. So he knocked softly. Inside, Peter sighed deeply, assuming it was the landlord. With a dread-filled heart, he opened the door, and froze. Standing in the cold hallway was a man dressed in a long coat, expensive shoes, and carrying eyes filled with something he hadn't seen in a long time, compassion. Christopher introduced himself, not with titles or authority, but as someone who received a letter that shouldn't be ignored. Shock washed over Peter, followed by embarrassment, pride, confusion, and fear. But when Amelia woke up and saw the letter in Christopher's hand, she didn't see wealth, status, or power. She saw hope walking in human form. They sat at the small kitchen table, surrounded by silence, humility, and unspoken emotions. Christopher listened. Not for a moment did he judge. And slowly, piece by piece, Peter released the pain he had been suffocating beneath his ribs for years. In return, Christopher opened up about losing his wife, how his home became a museum of memories, how success meant nothing without someone to share it with. Both men cried quietly, two strangers, broken in different ways, healing in the same moment. From then on, everything didn't magically become perfect, but change had begun. Christopher found a way to repair their heating, discreetly stocked their fridge, and brought Christmas decorations, but always respectfully, making sure Peter never felt small, incapable, or dependent. He noticed Peter's skill with repairs and woodwork and offered him a job, not out of sympathy but because he saw honesty and craftsmanship in his hands. Peter accepted, not as charity, but as a chance to stand again with dignity. Over the following weeks, Christopher visited often. He became a supportive figure to Amelia and a brother-like force for Peter. Their home filled with warmth again, not just heat, but laughter, trust, and light. Christmas morning arrived quietly. Amelia woke not to piles of presents, but to a decorated living room, the smell of warm breakfast, a repaired heater, gentle music, and two grown men smiling with the kind of smiles that come from healing wounds, not pretending. She didn't need gifts. She had her father back. She had family. She had love. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness can rewrite destinies, please like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your support might help this message reach another soul standing close to giving up. Before ending, please comment these words to spread hope. I believe in kindness, and miracles still happen. Thank you for watching. May life give you reasons to smile, even on the coldest nights.